What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and I think we'll have a more predictable day of news today, but there's a lot to still be said about the fallout from this kangaroo court, this banana republic that we are currently living in, with the persecution, the political persecution of Donald Trump. Now, he has reacted to his farcical indictment very strongly and issued some very strong words, while Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is having a bit of a meltdown over people posting very public information about the judge's daughter, which very likely could make this case, could present a strong conflict of interest. But that doesn't matter. What they're doing is they're willingly lying, spinning the story to try and say that they're trying to intimidate the judge by posting this picture, which is clearly not what they're doing. Let's get into all the news. By the way, thanks everyone who checked out coffeebrandcoffee.com yesterday. We had a great day of sales. We added about 100 new customers. Absolutely thankful for you. And thanks to Meta PCs for helping support the channel. I've been working with them for years. It's the computer I'm on right now. My literal actual computer is the one I'm on right now is right here on this page. They do custom builds. They have all these that I put together with them. They have desktops, laptops, and promo code The Quartering will help you save some cash. Veteran-owned company. So when you're ready for a new computer, remember Meta PCs, promo The Quartering, link in the description below. Trump facing criminal charges, but calls for the defunding of the FBI. Former President Donald Trump on Wednesday called on his fellow Republicans in Congress to slash funding for the U.S. Justice Department and the FBI, going on offensive a day after pleading not guilty in New York to 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. Trump, who is seeking to regain the presidency in 2024, took aim at the federal law enforcement authorities, even though the historic criminal charges against him, the first brought against any former sitting president, were pursued by the Manhattan District Attorney. Quote, Republicans in Congress should defund the DOJ and the FBI until they come to their senses, Trump wrote on his social media platform. The Republicans in the past have supported robust funding for law enforcement and criticized proposals from some in the left in recent years to defund local police departments. Trump, who served as president from 2017 to 2021, backed spending increases for the Justice Department and FBI while in office. The FBI is the U.S. Domestic Intelligence and Security Agency. Well, here's the thing. What we know about the FBI is they've been awfully busy being worried about what United States citizens tweet. Perhaps defunding it makes sense. In fact, I'm not sure what it is that they actually do. All these three-letter agencies seem to be spending an awful lot of time worried about what, Joe Sixpack is tweeting about the election, not stopping all these, how many times do we have to see a horrible event happen with one of these mentally deranged people, and then within hours, oh, they were known to the FBI. It's absolute insanity. Of course, he lashes out. Of course, NPR puts political spin on it, saying resorting to old tactics after arraignment hearing. It's funny how NPR, by the way, is going through massive layoffs right now. I wonder if it's almost because they are national public radio, but by and far and away are a partisan hack MSM, just another piece of the mainstream media that pretends to be impartial. You see Rolling Stone, when we had the late night, Colbert and Fallon couldn't help but making the exact same joke about Donald Trump's arrest. Well, it's probably because they don't have any ideas, but even Vox here saying the dubious legal theory at the heart of Trump's indictment explained. No one knows if Donald Trump can be prosecuted for the hush money payment allegedly made. There's something painfully anticlimactic about the Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg's indictment of former President Trump. Now, Vox is a leftist media outlet, and even they admit it concerns not Trump's efforts to overthrow the election, but his alleged effort to cover up a possible extramarital affair. And there's a very real risk that this indictment will end in an even bigger anticlimax. It's unclear that the felony statute that Trump is accused of violating even actually applies to him. The indictment charges Trump with 34 separate accounts of falsifying business records in the first degree, a felony. A separate document laying out the factual basis for Bragg's allegations against Trump points to a complicated web of arrangements between Trump and former lawyer Michael Cohen and David Pecker, the CEO of American Media, the company that publishes the National Enquirer. Bragg alleges that these three men worked together to identify two females who allegedly hooked up with Trump and paid them to remain silent. The women identified as Woman 1 and Woman 2 by Bragg, but the first appears to be Playboy model Karen McDougal, and the second appears to be Stormy Daniels. Cohen, who pled guilty to federal campaign finance crime arising out of a scheme in 2018, paid $130,000 to Daniels shortly before the 2016 election in order to secure her silence, which she couldn't do. And she's lost numerous lawsuits ever since then and currently owes Donald Trump $621,000 in change. According to Bragg, Trump then paid Cohen a total of $420,000 over the course of 2017, much of which was intended to reimburse Cohen for the payment to Daniels. The actual felony count arises out of the allegedly false entries that Trump made in various business records in order to make the payments to Daniels appear to be ordinary legal expenses paid to Cohen. But Bragg built his case. I can hear you all making fun of the way I say Bragg. I hear you. At least leave a like on the video. And if you haven't yet, subscribe down below. Maybe buy some coffee. Or if you're in the market for a computer, and you can make fun of me all you want. An exceedingly unclear Bragg built his case on an exceedingly unclear legal theory. Even if Trump did the things he's accused of, it's not clear that Bragg can legally charge Trump for them, at least under the felony version of New York's false records law. As Mark Pomerantz, former prosecutor in the Manhattan DA's office, who played a significant role in the Trump investigation prior to his resignation in 2022, wrote a recent book, a key legal question that determined whether or not Trump can be charged under a felony version of New York's false records law has never even been resolved by a single appellate court in the state of New York. The felony statute requires Bragg to prove that Trump falsified records to cover up a crime. Bragg has evidence that Trump acted to cover up a federal crime, but it is not clear that Bragg is even allowed to point to a federal crime in order to charge Trump under New York state law. The answer to this gnarly legal question, as Pomerantz put it, is simply unknown. So there is a serious risk that the New York judge will toss out the charges against Trump on a technical legal grounds unrelated to the former president's actual conduct. Of course, that's what's going to happen. Of course. Even if Bragg's legal team convinces New York courts that this prosecution may move forward, there's also the very real danger that the Supreme Court of the United States, with its GOP-appointed supermajority, could decide that it needs to weigh in on whether Trump should be shielded, on whether or not Trump should be shielded from this prosecution. The Supreme Court has long held under a doctrine known as the rule of lenity that fair warning should be given to the world in language that common world will understand of what the law intends to do if a certain line is passed. Thus, when the meaning of a criminal statute is unclear, the Constitution sometimes requires that the statute be read narrowly because an unclear criminal law did not give potential defendants fair warning that their conduct was illegal. Essentially, if the law is, if somebody can't understand the law, you cannot prosecute them for breaking that law, or if it's unclear. The current court is divided about when the rule of lenity should apply and whether it provides much protection to criminal defendants. But if the current slate of justices decide they must have the final word on the matter, Bragg may prosecute Trump. They could easily invoke the rule of lenity to justify asserting the Supreme Court's jurisdiction over the case. Bragg, in other words, has built one of the most controversial and high-profile criminal cases in American history upon perhaps the most uncertain of foundations. And that foundation could crumble to dust if the courts reject his legal arguments on a genuinely ambiguous question of law. Of course, right? I mean, this is obviously a political hit job. I don't think really anybody, unless they're suffering from like stage 3 TDS, I don't really think anybody could deny that. But that's not exactly what happens here. We have Democrats, and it's really pathetic, by the way. First of all, if you're in the GOP, if you're a Republican, and you haven't spoken out against this, you're a coward. If you're a Democrat and you haven't spoke out against this, you're a hack. The fact that you would remain silent in such an obvious situation where you have a political persecution of somebody, it tells me that you can't even be trusted to uphold the most basic of laws. AOC takes a huge melty over this, saying he's publicly intimidating a judge and pointing a spotlight on the family to his supporters, many of whom admitted in court to committing bad behavior in his name. He knows what he's doing. What is he talking about here? Well, Donald Trump is simply pointing out that the daughter of the judge in charge of his freedom has spent years in an ad agency that exclusively targets progressive politicians for clients. This daughter has worked for the Kamala Harris campaign. She's also worked for the Joe Biden Kamala Harris presidential campaign. Okay, so I think that there's more than enough reason here to be concerned that there is perhaps some conflict of interest there. But Democrats like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez are trying to pretend that he's trying to intimidate the judge or that he's trying to... That's not what he's trying to do. He's obviously pointing out that this is a railroad job, that this is a thing, like he is not... Of course, a lot of people reply to her because she's probably one of the dumbest people on the planet. Oh my, I don't know if I can even show that. Oh, good Lord, please. Oh, I guess it doesn't show anything. Do we need to take a trip down memory lane of your tactics against a certain SCOTUS justices? Because this is what people are pointing out to these hacks in the Democrat Party who are pretending like Trump's trying to intimidate this guy. What about that person that released the locations, that doxed judges and had somebody actually show up with the intention of removing him from this planet? Did we ever find who leaked that? I don't think so. Certainly somebody knows, right? Remember when they leaked the information about the Supreme Court justices over the pro-life stuff? I mean, this is what's great. All these people are revealing. All these people are revealing exactly how stupid they are. Oh, shut up, Zaza Demon. You're the one threatening to end people on your Twitter under your burner accounts. Be brave, man up, and talk your ish with your own name. See how this man walked with his chin up into a courthouse? You could never do that. A lot of people just throwing her burner account in her face, which is almost certainly hers. I mean, we'd probably need Elon to confirm that. But this is, a terrible, terrible situation. I certainly hope that this gets tossed out with a rapid quickness. And I do have deep concerns over our legal system in this country going forward. I hope you were informed by this video. If you were, please do leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, subscribe down. I just hit my head. Subscribe down below. Thanks everyone for supporting my coffee company, Coffee Brand Coffee. The link will be in the description. And my sponsor, Meta PCs. Absolutely love working with them. So when you're in the market, link is also in the description there. Promo code The Quartering. And we'll talk to you again real soon.